Welcome to the WDW News Today Podcast, episode 94.
You seem so joyful.
I'm Eric. This is Tom. Hello.
I guess we had a cool week.
Did we have a cool week? Did we have a cool 7-day period when we had Leslie Iwerks in here? We had the world champ, the AEW World Heavyweight Champion MJF in here. We had an interview with an Imagineer, which you'll see, I guess, next week on the podcast. If things are going great. And then now we're going to go our separate ways for a few days, and then we'll come back and we'll get back at this again.
It was a pretty good 2-week period, I would say. I think we had a lot of fun opportunities. There's several things we can't even mention that you'll see the fruits of that in a couple weeks' time. But there are a lot of exciting updates for events and other things we're working on.
Well, thank you for joining us. We are the #1 Disney World podcast in Celebration. Also now the #1 wrestling podcast in Celebration, Florida.
That may not be true. This is a hotbed. I don't know about that.
I don't know.
We don't know what anyone's doing in their house or apartment in Celebration.
I'd rather not know.
Well.
But, yeah, thanks for joining us. If you just stumbled upon us, please like and subscribe. You're here on our main channel. We also have a few other channels that different things air on. POV rides and things like that on the POV channel. It's WWNT POV. Of course, Parkhive is the big push now. So on Parkhive, you'll get some information. We have a video that's going to be launching by the time this episode airs of Tim Delaney talking about the creation of Living Seas. And obviously this episode is all about the 40th anniversary of the Seas with Nemo and Friends, or the Living Seas, the Seas Pavilion, as it were.
Can I just say something? I just want to get this out of the way now. For the rest of this episode, I would like to refer to it as the Seas or the Living Seas, because the Seas with Nemo and Friends is the worst pavilion name in the history of EPCOT.
I agree. PR did present us with a packet celebrating 40 years of the Seas with Nemo and Friends.
Well, I mean, that's their
the
official
company
name.
line.
They don't
We're going to call it the
choice.
Living Seas, right? Or the Seas.
Or the Seas. The Seas is fine, but Seas with Nemo, I don't. It hurts my heart to see. So we're going to talk about going backstage at the Seas, and what hurts my heart is that terrible logo on all those. People are doing the most incredible work back there, and that cartoony logo. I feel like that IP fits there, but I also feel like it diminishes the work they're doing. I don't know. It rubs me the wrong way.
I agree. And we talked about it in another interview on a show that will air later with Paul about sort of IP and how does it fit. And when we talked about Dino Land and sort of how does that fit, and there's things that fit with an ecology message, and there are things that kind of don't, because it makes it seem like it's not taken quite as seriously, right? And I think after going, and you'll see we have some stuff coming up later on this show, it is a very serious mission they have there.
They're doing incredible work.
A ton of people to pull that off. And what they do there every day is kind of mind-boggling.
It just feels so above the cartoon characters. It feels like such an Animal Kingdom, right? Like it is Disney's Animal Kingdom, but I don't know. If you ever watch the magic of Disney's Animal Kingdom, the streaming show, I think there's something that feels. What's the word I'm looking for here?
It feels like on mission, right?
It
feels,
does, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you see that Seas with Nemo and Friends shirt, you're like, hey, here's a cool idea. I'm going to throw this out there. What if they got new shirts at the pavilion, and there's a way you can make them look professional, but also tie in with the current pavilion? They brought back the logo. The Seas, the icon, all the Epcot pavilions have their icons again. What if you just make polos with that little Seas logo? It's current, it's active, it's being used in the building, it's on signage, it's all over the place. So I think it would look very spiffy if they all just got back to wearing just that logo.
I'm fine with that. I love it.
They
just did that at the Land Pavilion, by the way.
I will personally fund it. If Disney wants to send us the bill, I will buy polo shirts for the entire cast of the Seas Pavilion.
After seeing how many people it takes to make the behind-the-scenes magic there, I don't think we can afford all those polos. We're going to have to go get Temu polos or something like that.
Yeah.
That would be bad. All right. It's time for the Voices of Literacy. You ready?
Yeah.
All right. The first one today comes from James. Morning. I wanted to take a quick moment to write an email and ask a question. I'm a huge fan of the podcast and website. Even though I'm a fan of most Boston teams, I can feel for Tom being a Dolphins fan and Eric is a KC fan. I very much enjoy the opening banter and snack time. I would recommend some fluff sandwiches as an item, but I think Tom might have enjoyed one or two prior. Maybe you ate a fluff sandwich on.
I've never had fluff.
If we're just saying marshmallow cream, like I had I'm sure people would colloquially call that fluff, but as branded as I recall marshmallow cream when I was a kid. One of my friend's grandmothers lived on the way home from school. We would walk by there and we'd go, and she'd make us peanut butter and marshmallow cream sandwiches, and they were delicious.
I would bet
or
it's
chocolate sauce.
It's probably been in something we've reviewed at some point at a festival, or maybe was the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man didn't have fluff, did he? The one from Universal? I don't think so.
I don't know.
I don't remember. I don't know that I've had a peanut butter and fluff sandwich.
It's good stuff.
The Fluffernutter, yeah. I've had a Fluffernutter churro. Disneyland had a Fluffernutter churro. I remember that. That was good. So maybe I have.
As for my question, in the last few shows, you've talked about things you want to see at the parks in 2026 and beyond. The one thing I'm very interested in hearing is about the future of hotels on property. I know DVC is doing a lot of the new building. Do you think they will build any new hotels that are not DVC? Are there any hotels that need a touch-up or retheme? Would there ever be a hotel that opens in the park like the Grand Californian at Disneyland? Thanks for the show. Keep up the amazing work, James. Please bring back more Gertie merchandise.
I've been asked to take a year off from dinosaurs, so not in 2026, the year without dinosaur merchandise.
Life finds a way.
I'm gonna say number one. Will there be? Was the first question? Will there be a non-DVC resort?
Yeah.
No, because Disney World, like as from a business standpoint, how do you argue the fact that another division wants to build you hotel capacity? Like vacation clubs paying for it, and Disney World just like, yeah, here's some more land, go for it. We don't have to pay for any of this. And then also from the DVC side, because it's DVC, it's the only way to build hotels that are mostly, if not fully funded, by the time they open. Like you can start making back the money before the hotel is open to the public.
They could build a hybrid sort of hotel. They could build like the Boardwalk has hotels and DVC side. Grand Floridian has hotel DVC side. I can see that potentially happening.
Yeah.
And hopefully, if I had my way and you had your way, I'm sure we would get that Adventureland hotel that's been in talks for so long.
But
It's
it
been
seems like
rumored for forever.
The age of building the hybrid ones is past us now. The last one that was pitched was that Disneyland one. That the one that would have been when the whole Eastern Gateway and all that was happening. The luxury hotel they wanted to build on the downtown Disney side that Anaheim fought them on. That was the last one that was even talked about. The last non-DVC we got, I guess, is Grand Destino Tower, and that's an addition to an existing hotel. So,
yeah, I don't know. I feel like, there always seems to be an appetite for Disney resort hotels.
they keep adding rooms.
So I would never say never, but I think the focus clearly from a business standpoint is the DVC stuff.
In the
right?
foreseeable, if
Pays
you
for
ask us,
itself.
right now we talk about foreseeable future. I can't, in the foreseeable future, imagine a Disney World hotel being built that's not a Disney Vacation Club.
But what if they built some sort of Adventureland hotel, like we've talked about, that maybe half of it's Adventureland and half is Villains, and you have entrances to both lands?
I still think it'd be fully DVC. So the other question is, will there be another in-park hotel? I think there will be several. But I think, given the current trajectory, they'll be DVC. Maybe I'm wrong, but I fully expect Magic Kingdom will add a hotel on the left side of the park, and I still believe that Epcot Entrance Hotel is inevitable.
What about a value? There were unfinished value resorts back in the day that never got done, right out there by sort of, was it by Pop?
That was Pop.
No, but weren't there some buildings, some additional buildings that never happened out there?
Let's tell the tale of Pop Century. Pop Century was supposed to open in 2001. Obviously, some things happened at that time that slowed down the project, but it was going to open in phases. So they opened first what they called the classic years, which the classic years, correct me if I'm wrong, like 50s to 90s, is that right? It was 50. The idea is the hotel's open in 2001. It will be a celebration of 1900 to the end of the 1900s. And so they opened what they called the classic years. They planned to open it in 2001. It didn't happen with the slowdown. They didn't need more hotel rooms. So finally, in 2003, they opened that side of the hotel, Hourglass Lake,
Right.
In late 2003. That left. They gave up on what they called the legendary years, which are the 1900s to the 1950s. That was abandoned. They built a little bit of it, like the main building and some hotel buildings, and then left it.
Yeah.
And then finally, in the late 2000s, when there was an appetite again, even though it was weirdly enough, that was in the middle of the recession, they were like, "Oh, let's." Because so the weird thing that happened was, just down the road there was that Nickelodeon hotel,
Right.
and it was focused on family suites. And it was from the minute it opened, huge business. And so Disney realized there was an appetite for value-oriented family suites. And so between converting, I think it's at Music, they've converted some buildings,
Yes.
and then they were like, well, let's do a resort. That's a great idea for the rest of what was going to be Pop Century. Let's build that out. And so the Little Mermaid buildings, which are traditional value rooms, are the buildings that were already built. So that's why those Little Mermaid rooms exist at Art of Animation. Then the other three buildings, they're built on the pads that were built, so they're the same shape as your typical value resort buildings would be. But instead they built the Cars, Lion King, and Nemo, and Finding Nemo family suites on those spots. But so there aren't any left. Like
I thought there
they
was
used
still
it
an
all
empty
there.
plot of land somewhere. No.
There are plots of land, but nothing that was started on. Like there are plenty of places they wanted to build hotels. I mean, in the 2000s, just across the road from Hollywood Studios, they wanted to build that. It was going to be DVC, that California Coast Hotel,
Yeah.
which would have connected via a sky bridge or something of the sort into Hollywood Studios. There's been plenty of hotels that didn't happen through the years.
I can't believe they never built a Wide World of Sports hotel. All the events and families and kids that come in and out that churn through there. And I know, gosh, it's been, I don't know if it's been 20 years, but it's been at least 10 or 15 where they were going to build, remember like the world's largest bowling center? They were going
Yeah.
to do all that stuff out there that never happened. And I figure like, that would be awful convenient to have this sort of Wide World of Sports campus where they can stay there, play there,
Yeah.
compete there.
I'm sure that was discussed, but I think in the end it's the All-Stars. That's why the All-Stars has that giant group check-in building, and that's where they're relegated to. And those were built around the same time, so they knew when they were building Wide World of Sports that was their plan.
Yeah. And then he says also, are there any hotels that need a touch-up or re-theme? I mean, they all could use a touch-up, but a re-theme. Are there any themes that you feel like? I mean,
I would redo that Riviera lobby tomorrow.
yeah, but that's not a full re-theme of the hotel.
I would knock that down and start over.
Yeah,
but that's
it's
me.
bad.
I don't like that hotel.
Fort Wilderness is
Re-theme?
kind of getting a re-theme right now,
Yeah, it's
right? I mean,
bad.
converted to DVC, a much more modern aesthetic, sightlines ruined, much different feel.
They modernize it. Like we saw the first of it when Tricircle D changed.
Yeah.
Which, don't get me wrong, I love the fact that there's a better home for animals. It's a modern facility that is much more comfortable for the workers and for the animals. It's hard to argue that one. And if that had been the only modernization, it would have been fine. But I think the problem is what's happened throughout when you have these things that look like shipping containers sitting in the woods, and you've really done away with the rustic, woodsy. When that hotel opened, it was more themed to like the American frontier than it was themed to, camping. Now it's just purely themed to camping in America in today.
Yeah.
Glamping and some glamping, yeah.
So a little glamping.
Yeah.
Still great resort.
But is there any hotel? I like the themes. I mean, I think people would tell you they don't like the themes of the All-Stars and something different should be done there.
Yeah, what I've always thought is we have two Port Orleans hotels,
Yeah.
right? And there's an opportunity to change one of those, right? I think
No.
people have expressed discomfort with some of the theme of is it French Quarter that people
No,
or is
no,
it
the
Riverside?
plantation
Yeah,
houses.
the plantation
in
houses.
Riverside.
I don't necessarily want to see that. I can see an appetite for them to do that at some point, but
Please don't. I don't think it gets more perfect Disney decade hotel design than Port Orleans, French Quarter, and Riverside, formerly Dixie Landings. I don't think it gets better story wise. Like they are just so perfect, and the fact that they're coupled together. It's one of my favorites. If it wasn't for Animal Kingdom Lodge and Wilderness Lodge, Port Orleans would be number one for me. I think it's just so perfect. So perfect. But people don't like the All-Stars. And then the other rumor for many years was Pop Century would go away and just become more Art of Animation, just theme them to more Disney animated movies.
kind of makes sense, right?
I think it does. I don't think the Pop Century thing's going to hold on forever.
My thing about the All Stars, other than they're kind of crappy, right, is the themes are slight decor changes, but they all just kind of look the same. They're all like the same thing painted different, and the buildings all look the same. You drive in there and you're like, I don't know, this one's red with stars on it. Oh, this one's blue with stars on it. It's like, they're not very distinctive.
I don't completely agree. All-Star Sports, I think, was kind of a rough start. I like All-Star Sports. When you get to music, though, go walk around I know you don't go walk around Value Resorts. I invite you one day to go walk around All-Star Music. The country music section that has like a park in the middle and there's picnic benches and wood fencing and like it's pretty thematic.
But I'd say from like the parking lot at check-in, you go and you're like, you look at it,
Oh,
you're
the
like,
front-
I'm not
no.
sure which one of these places is which.
No, the front. I don't like the lobby buildings at all.
Yeah.
The lobby buildings.
Lobbies in particular.
I would knock down those lobby buildings and start over. But I will say, like music again, the jazz section where it's all New Orleans themed for a Value Resort. It's very nice grounds. And then, what is the section with the jukebox? I forget what music that's. But maybe that represents rock and roll. I don't even know. But that jukebox section with the classic cars and all of that. There are a lot of good moments in that resort. I don't like that the rooms all went to one type. I don't like that all three have the same exact rooms now. I loved when there were slight thematic changes, not only between the three hotels, but from building to building. Same with Pop. When all the rooms, depending which decade you were staying in, there was different posters, different what do you call that? The border, right? The thing at the top
trim,
of the wall, the trim. Yeah, all that stuff was different. That was for being a value resort. I thought those touches made it Disney, and I don't like now that. Yeah, they're clean and modern and they're comfortable, but at the same time, would it have hurt to have different art in them? No, it would have been fine.
I just stayed at Coronado, earlier this week, 2 nights at Grand Destino Tower. Never been there. I thought this would be a good little staycation, and I didn't hate it, but it was very forgettable. Like the actual room decor was very. I don't like. I understand the purpose of it. I don't like the hard surface floors in a hotel. You walk in and it's kind of. You could tell what it's trying to be, but you could tell it's like vinyl plank or something like that, and it really bland. And I think the hotel is beautiful, but the rooms themselves, I was kind of like, eh. Like I've never been as underwhelmed by a room as I was at Epic Universe at Helios Grand.
Oh yeah,
this wasn't that level of underwhelming. This room was a nice, comfortable room.
Yeah.
Same thing with Riviera. All my criticisms of Riviera, I stayed there and I thought the room was extremely nice and cozy and comfortable. Same with Island Tower. Same with a lot of these. But I think why not redo some of the All-Stars? Put in different, more distinctive buildings, right?
Yeah.
We'll see. Have you seen
our Wigs members? Alfie brought up contemporary. Yeah, those Incredibles rooms should leave immediately. Those are. I hope they don't even do a soft goods. They just, when the time comes in a year or two, just rip through them. Just undo it. Undo what you did.
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised to see them demolish the other garden wing and build like a tower or something there.
Since the moment Bay Lake Tower happened, that's been the rumor that there'd be another tower. I wouldn't be shocked. I love the garden wing just because, like certain parts of the Polynesian, that's where you feel 70s Disney World.
Right.
You're like, oh yeah, this is what Disney World was when it opened. Mm-hmm. So like, look, in the next 10 or 15 years, I would dare say all the things that feel like they're from opening Disney World will be eradicated. So I invite you in the next couple of years, save up money, plan for it. Like, go stay in a garden wing room with a contemporary. If you really admire the history of Disney World, go stay out there and you absolutely can feel what it would have been like to go when the place opened.
I was fortunate enough to stay in a garden wing. I think you were maybe in Japan at the time, and it was a Disney media event. They put us up in the Contemporary. It was for a Destiny preview, long before the Destiny was done being built. And they put us in a garden wing, and I was down at the end of one of the hall, like go all the way to the end, turn right, go all the way to the end there, and it was like the last room on the right. So it was like an irregular room. It was really a bizarre shape.
Oh, yeah.
I had like dual patio. I think it was 2 patios, but I had the one little patio right out there, and the water pageant went by like 50 feet away every
You had
night.
the one facing like the channel?
I was
under
facing the
monorail?
channel, yeah. It
That's
was
my
so
dream.
great.
I want to stay in one of those.
It was so great. The room
Yeah.
tour is up on this channel, so you might be able to find that.
I think we have several garden. Well, they've remodeled them since, but I had one of those weird ones on the turn. That's like the room was shaped like a triangle. That was the weirdest.
This one had a big table and a bunch of chairs. I don't think it had a couch. It was huge. The room was the size of this room that we're in now. It was
one
gigantic.
Christmas. I forget why. Oh, I think it was probably Christmas of 2020 because we still needed. It was still hard to get park reservations, and so we would book hotel rooms to put all the reporters on them so they can get into the park.
Yeah.
And then that's how we also, toured every room at Disney World. But yeah, Christmas of 20, I ended up in like that weird corner room at the in the garden wing.
Yeah.
That was super cool. It was so weird.
All right, well, James, thanks for the questions. All right, this next one's from Nathan. Hello, Eric and Tom. First off, love the podcast. Thank you for creating great content. Really enjoy it. Has made me really appreciate all the history of the parks. Just wanted to get you and Tom's opinions on the recent announcement of Galaxy's Edge change to include the original trilogy and reset the timeline. Could this be the slow phase in one of the original trilogies to transform and possibly change attractions? Also, is this the end of Star Tours? With combining new and old, I feel like Star Tours is being pushed out. I'm an original trilogy diehard, but have mixed feelings on changing Galaxy's Edge to a random mix of eras. The immersive experience is something really special, but also understand the change helps grow the story. Thanks, Nathan. I don't know where to start on this. This is a Disneyland question, really.
I mean, does it eventually apply to Disney World? I think Disney World will eventually follow suit. I think it's going to happen. I think we are probably only a few years away from Darth Vader being the bad guy on Rise of the Resistance. That's my belief.
You don't even have to change anything, really.
Barely.
A couple of costumes.
You change the characters on screen. You change costumes or outfits or the skin on figures and yeah. It seems trivial because it won't be a new ride, but it's going to mean so much to people.
I do think the mix of eras is going to be a little bit jarring for some people when they go. I would rather do everything original trilogy. That's just me because that's what connected with me, right? I grew up with that original trilogy, and I don't have the same sort of looming feelings of dread when it comes to like Kylo Ren and the First Order as I do with like Darth Vader or Emperor Palpatine.
I mean, everyone on Earth knows Darth Vader. It's the most famous film villain of all time.
I want Boba Fett, patrolling. He could turn you in. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
You say this is what I mean. Every time someone says these things, like the Boba Fett being there and Darth Vader and this and that, I get like excited. I think about it. And I'm like, oh, that sounds so cool. And then you sit there and you go, then why did we get the land we got? And we know the story. Of course, it was the trilogy that Disney was making at the time. And why would you not want to promote the thing that is yours, that you created, quote unquote? So I totally get it, but at the same time, there was a big miss. It's a big miss, and it wouldn't have been. It wouldn't have been a big miss if that series turned out better. So if the success that came off of Force Awakens actually continued through that trilogy, it'd be a different conversation right now. Maybe we live in a world at that point where that land is more successful than it is. And Disney's sitting there going, well, people love Star Wars still. Let's build another land that is classic trilogy. There's a timeline where, though that film series turned out better and the land was a greater success, and then spawned off of that success that Star Wars is still making tons and tons and tons of money, Disney's like, oh, let's do more. Let's build another land, and it'll be Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker and this and that. And the Mandalorian at the center of it. Certainly, there's a timeline where that happens. Unfortunately, we don't live in that one. So I think we have to dial it back to classic trilogy so it's something that appeals to more people.
Yeah, and hear me out. There was a time when, I've talked about this before, there was a time when I thought they could connect everything and make it all Star Wars on that side of the park, right? Now, we're not going to do that with Monstropolis, but you have the Indiana Jones Stunt Spectacular, which, great show. It's been there for decades. But in my head, what I had was they converted that into a Star Wars stunt show. But they're not letting you behind the scenes like you're making a movie. It's just like you're there when Jabba's barge goes out into the desert of Tatooine and the whole thing happens where they're fighting and Boba Fett flies down into the Sarlacc and all. I think that would have been a cool thing to have done back then. It never happened now. But
do you know that there has been a Star Wars show in that theater?
Yes.
Oh, you know about that.
I think you told me about
Did
it.
I tell you Raiders of the Lost Jedi Temple of Doom?
Yeah.
Go watch it. That was I think it was from the last Tour to Endor event when they were counting down to the closure of original Star Tours. We have it here on the channel.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Would have been cool.
Yeah. So I think this is the beginning of original trilogy throughout Galaxy's Edge. Certainly at Disneyland. I think Disneyland will get it first. Disney World, as usual, we don't want to, clutching our purse strings, as usual.
What about Star Tours? Do you think there's...
That's the real question. Star Tours has survived. I think we all thought Star Tours was going out. My theory is still that Imagineers thought Star Tours was going away. That Last Jedi update, the one where you head into the final battle with the Emperor and the 100 million Star Destroyers that make no sense. That whole thing. There's a couple lines C-3PO has in that version where you're like, oh, this is a goodbye. So there's a part in the end where he's like, if this is the end, it has been a pleasure serving you, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And then he has this big emotional line at the end too, which is, I forget what he says, but those two lines in that particular segment, the Force Awakens segment, feel to me like they were a farewell for Star Tours. And the first time I wrote that, I got real choked up because Star Tours is the reason I became a Star Wars fan as a kid. That was my first Star Wars thing I saw before I even saw a movie. And so it's like Star Tours is such an... Is Star Tours... I didn't even know you had this question before I busted out my Star Tours cup, but Star Tours is such a legendary attraction. It would be heartbreaking for it to go away fully forever.
I think that's why it's still there, because every other factor is get rid of it.
Well,
it's in the wrong spot. It's in the wrong timeline. It's in the
brilliant thing about Star Tours was that George Lucas. I don't know if I've told you this story. I think before, when they were making Star Tours: The Adventures Continue, Jason Sorrell and Eric Jacobson and Kathy and all those people that worked on that. Were trying to keep it to a certain timeline. They were worried about the timeline, and they're like, "Okay, well, this is going to be between the prequels and the original trilogy." And they start writing out storylines that fit that timeline. So for Hoth, if you go to Hoth, the Empire and the Rebellion base can't be there. It's too early. And so I think you went to Hoth and you just crash into the snow, and then the Wampa's there, and the Wampa comes at you, and you get away. And I think George looked at him and goes, where are the AT-ATs? Why are you not running away from? Why are you not in the middle of the battle? And per Jason's story, he goes, well, it doesn't fit the timeline. And George Lucas looks at him and goes, who cares?
Who cares?
Yeah. And look, as a fanboy, as someone who believes in thematic integrity, back then my heart was hurt hearing that story because he doesn't even care. Why does no one let Imagineering have story integrity? And I think over the last 15 years, I understand George better now, where part of it is give people what they want.
Just let me see the AT-ATs.
People want to have the AT-AT shooting at them while they dodge the laser blasts. And you can't argue in new Star Tours, it is absolutely a better scene that way than it would have ever been with a snow monster coming at your cockpit. That wouldn't have been as good.
Yeah.
You can't argue it. So And I will say, after Galaxy's Edge opened, I would somewhat jokingly, but also honestly say to people, my favorite Star Wars attraction ever is Star Tours. It still is, because it feels like Star Wars. The music the whole time are those recognizable things. You feel like you're in the movie. Yeah, maybe it doesn't make sense. Maybe the storyline. Look, original Star Tours didn't make sense either. There's a third Death Star. Get out of here. Yeah. That's not real. That's not canon. That wasn't real. But it didn't matter. It was a fun attraction where you're in the world of Star Wars. And that's what Star Tours has continued to be. And the more I've been on it the last several years, the more I believe it's still the best Star Wars ride.
Let me tell you this. I have never seen Lee's eyes light up more and her smile bigger than when she was the rebel spy.
Yeah.
She's like, turns people into a little kid.
It's cool. There was a tremendous update. They did such a good. I miss old Star Tours. I think that's the greatest accolade you can have in this industry, is if you touch something legendary and no one complains about it. Like, getting rid of original Star Tours was a big ask. Like, people loved original Star Tours, but it came back, and people are very happy with the new one. People really liked it. I think that's a huge success story. You can update, same as Country Bear Musical Jamboree. It isn't a museum. You can thoughtfully update things to where they keep the spirit of what they always were, but it now appeals to a larger and more modern audience. I truly believe you can do that with any attraction. You just have the right people, the right vision. The money has to be there. Like, a number of things have to fall in place, but you can totally update any classic attraction in a way where you change a large amount of it, but it keeps that feel, that vibe, that warmth, and people still love it.
This one should be a quick one. This is from Dan from Milwaukee. Hello, gentlemen. One suggestion for your crazy food sampling time. There's a subscription treat service called Try Treats, where the company sends a random country's snack food out once a month.
Oh.
Lots of stuff in the box, so lots to try. Also, I listen to a lot of ranking podcasts. They do a history on the subject and rank the subject in categories they made up. It would be a grind, but what about you guys ranking park-specific rides, restaurants, etc., past and present? It could be a program in Park Hive. Thanks a lot, you guys. Hopefully, we can work out a day to spend with Tom, that auction win from 2024.
Yeah.
Take care, Dan. Thanks, Dan. That's a good idea.
Maybe we can get a sponsorship from these people. We got to talk to them.
Do you run a snack box service? Hit us up, Eric M.
Well, we should contact the one specifically he brought up, because that sounds exactly like what we do on this show. What was the name again?
Try Treats.
Try Treats.
I like it. Thanks, Dan. We'll talk about it. All right, and the last email for this episode. Dear Eric and Tom, thanks for taking the time to take a picture with me at News Tonight last week. Now for my question. As someone who loves It's a Small World, I rode the Paris version over the summer and noticed lots of maintenance issues as well as lack of detail. Was sad to see it in that state. Then I came to Florida and noticed a lot more issues.
I was going to say, also, most of the lighting was off or bad.
Like paint peeling, light bulbs burn out, and lots of trash on guest-reached areas on the ride. Do you have any insight as to why this beloved attraction is going in a bad direction? Do you know what the chances of them doing a major refurbishment to it would be? Love the ride, and I'm sad to see the state it's in. Thanks for your time. That's from Thomas. Thanks, Thomas.
Magic Kingdom Small World needs a 12 to 18 month closure. I truly believe that. It is the lighting, the entire lighting throughout the entire building has to be redone, and they have to bring in someone that understands lighting, because it is the worst lit Small World in the world. It's terrible. That whatever they did to the Polynesian scene, that blue lighting, it's all misaimed. It doesn't look good. They took all the color of that room's been sucked out because they made it dark and just started shooting this bright navy blue light across everything. I hate it. I despise what they've done to it's. Our Small World is literally my favorite version. I think it's the best version. It is also the most poorly maintained version of all of them. It's dimly lit, so I can't even tell you necessarily that the paint is faded throughout, because I can't tell, because it's so poorly lit. I don't know if that's the lighting or the paint is faded.
Disneyland, the facade and the outdoor portion is amazing.
Yeah.
It's hard to compete with that. But the rest of the ride, I agree with you. The Disney World one is superior. I'm not going to let Disneyland off the hook. Last year when I was out there, it was rough.
Yeah.
They have cleaned it up a little bit. But, I mean, there were sections of ceiling tiles missing, large sections, and you could see they had put, like, cross-braced 2x4s up in the ceiling. Like, there's just crap hanging from 2x4s in the ceiling and guest face, like, right there for you to look at.
Mansion and Small World at Disneyland, because of the annual holiday overlays, they're rough. That like up and down every year takes a toll. But I just did Small World Holiday. Got very lucky; it was still running. It's still my favorite. That's my favorite thing on this planet. There is not a more joyful and magnificent theme park ride on this earth than Small World Holiday.
Yeah, I did that in December. It was great.
Yeah.
I think that was my first time on that, too.
That's a good moment because then they fill that ride. You can't tell where all the maintenance problems are because everything's covered in decor. But then when it comes back, you're always like, oh no, like things are. Same with the Haunted Mansion, where there's like visible damage from the holiday overlay. But I don't know about Paris. We just went to Paris in September and November, and I didn't notice maintenance issues on their Small World. I don't like their Small World. It's the worst one, I think. It's the only one that's mostly not in Mary Blair's style for some reason. I really don't like. Well, you're going to get to see the Tokyo one in April.
Yeah.
So the Tokyo one is ours if someone gave a shit. That's what I love. It also, like, the facade is kind of the Disneyland facade, but then inside it's ours. But again, if someone...
And they have Groot.
If someone cared. Oh, yeah, you're going to see the Groot one.
Yeah.
It's going to be It's a Small World with Groot, which I was ready to despise, and then I couldn't. They did such a good job, I could not hate it.
If you have some questions you'd like to ask us, you can email the Voice of Literacy, Eric M. at WDWNTE.com. Thank you for all your submissions. And now, the time you've all been waiting for, it's Weird Snack Time.
Yeah.
This is from, I think, China. It is called Numb and Spicy Hot Pot Flavor Lay's Potato Chips.
Numb and Spicy was
Numb
my
and
nickname
spicy.
in college.
This is not Jack Jack's Num Num.
Cookie Num Nums. Jack Jack's Cookie Num Nums. I mean, the food they're showing on the front of the bag looks hot. Oh, does it smell that hot?
No, it smells bad.
Oh, yeah.
I chewed right in the microphone. I normally try not to. Tom's the opposite. Tom's like, they don't like it. Let me chew louder.
Katie's upset now. It's good.
Pretty good. It smells
A little
terrible,
bit of like
but-
Szechuan pepper on the back.
Oh, yeah. Definitely Szechuan pepper on it. These are getting better.
I have a Szechuan story to share. So Lori they had their anniversary, and they decided to ask our good friends Paul and Ann Osterhout, because Ann worked on Sci-Fi, like that was her job at one of her jobs at WDI. So they went to celebrate at Sci-Fi. And so I asked Lori the next day, I was like, how was it? She said, it was good. She's like, the food is the food. And I go, yeah, the food will never be good as it was a couple years ago. And she's like, what menu are you talking about? And I go, man, they used to have like sauced chicken tenders. There was a Szechuan one, I think. And so she spent like a half hour digging through Google to find it. And she's like, you're right, they did have Szechuan tenders. How do you remember all of this? I go, I don't know. But I do miss that.
Remember,
I miss that menu so much.
Was it Rick and Morty where they brought back this, like, it became so popular talking about the McDonald's, like,
The
Szechuan sauce
yeah,
that they brought
had
it
to
back.
do it. Yeah.
Eat one more and then Katie, do you want some of these? Katie's like, no, sir. She doesn't like hot food. Okay, I don't think.
There's a nice savory flavor up front too. It's not just spice. Those
The
are
smells a little
really
off-putting.
good.
These are really
I
good.
would destroy that bag.
These are 7.
Yeah, I'm
7
with
out
you.
of 7.
I might need to find these and buy them.
I probably got them at World Market.
They're
I don't
really
remember.
good.
All right.
World Market should be our sponsor. Well, them or the snack box. We got to see who's receptive. But we should do that.
Try treats.
Our snack budget is insane. And by insane, I mean usually people just bring us
The
stuff.
$20 I spent 8 months ago at World Market has taken us very far. All right. Now we get to the meat of the story, the meat of the podcast. We're talking about the 40th anniversary of the Living Seas at EPCOT. Tom and I were invited backstage to see some pretty cool stuff, and this is not something everyone got to go to. We saw there were some TV stations there with us. Went very early in the morning. We got to see some very cool stuff. I want to share a couple little facts about the Living Seas with you. Opened in 1986. Obviously, they've just celebrated their 40th
January
anniversary.
15th.
It originally debuted as the Living Seas and was reimagined in 2007 as the Seas with Nemo and Friends.
That's incorrect.
This is from Disney.
That's wrong. Seas with Nemo and Friends opened in 2006.
Nerd.
I am a nerd, yeah. And my nerddom is the reason you're all employed, so you should be proud of it. Proud of your heritage here at WDWNT.
Too. I didn't say anything against myself.
Disney, update your fact sheet. It's wrong. I'm gonna find this. Hold
I'll
on.
move on while you hunt.
Yeah.
It's one of the largest saltwater aquariums in the world with 5.7 million gallons of saltwater. It's home to 90-plus marine species, including sandbar sharks, green and loggerhead sea turtles, vibrant tropical reef fish, manatees, rays, and bowmouth guitarfish. There are 30-plus, they have rehabilitated and released 30-plus manatees and 350-plus sea turtles. We got to see some of those, too. They have received $24 million in grants provided by the Disney Conservation Fund since 1995 to support marine species. 600-plus dedicated team members of aqua people, divers, veterinarians, nutritionists, educators, and more. So what an amazing experience it was to go to the Seas Pavilion and go backstage with them. You can, if you are like a certified diver, you can do a dive experience there where you can go down in that 5.7 million gallon saltwater tank, and I don't know, they do stuff for about, I think they said about 45 minutes, a 45-minute experience. That's pretty cool. Obviously, many of you have seen the dive lockout. We have a little video of the lockout show here they did for us. It's pretty cool. The diver goes in. They give the diver signals. The diver does what they're told. They do a little clean up the seas with a plastic bag. It's a good time.
Okay, so I've solved the mystery.
Okay.
There is a lot of confusion online, though. There are all different dates in January 2007. The Nemo ride opened in November of 2006, because I specifically remember going in 2006, and the Nemo musical and the Nemo ride had both opened. They apparently officially, I guess they dedicated the new name in January of 2007. But fall 2006, the ride, it was already operating.
The Sea Pavilion at EPCOT is an accredited member of the Association of Zoos and Aquariums, AZA. Only the very best zoos and aquariums can meet the gold standards set for this for the AZA. The main environment of the seas, 5.7 million gallons of water. It's enough to fill 9 Olympic-sized swimming pools. I'm surprised it's not more. It's home to over 90 species. Let's talk about the turtles, because you don't see a lot of the turtles here. We went backstage into a sort of a tented area where they're rehabilitating what they called, I've never heard this name before, cold stunned sea turtles that they came in from New England in need of rehabilitation.
Yeah.
We'll show you some of that here.
They came during the holiday season, so they named them after holiday characters.
Reindeer
so it was like
and
the,
stuff, yeah.
all the reindeer, and I forget there was some other ones, but
Yeah. That's really cool. They will probably never even see, guests will probably never see them.
yeah.
So this is just to reinforce that their mission is beyond the guest experience of your average everyday guest at EPCOT. Behind the scenes, they're also rehabilitating turtles. They took great care. They took them out and they weighed them in front of us. They keep track of how much weight they put on. At a certain point, they will then release them back into the wild, never having probably even seen the main aquarium or any of the guests at Epcot. They go back there. That's pretty cool.
That's incredible. Like everybody else, I wanted to be mad about the manatee thing when, little Joe and Lou got moved out because they've been there forever. But seeing this facility and understanding how well equipped they are to make a difference in the lives of all these animals, and it's not even necessarily something that affects the guest experience whatsoever. It's just a thing they do because it's the right thing to do. That's a very respectable thing to do. I think that's wonderful. I'm sad that we lost our manatee friends. I know they're out there and they're probably doing fine, but the fact that it's about the rehabilitation and the short-term care, it's clear that this is the right place for it to happen. So it's a wonderful thing.
Because of the nature of some of these wildlife things, we do have to include permit numbers along with any of our content that involves the turtles or the manatees. The turtles MTP-25-083 and MTP-25-167 are the permit numbers. And then with the manatees, any of the manatee content, again, there's a USFWS permit number, PER 0037721.
If you're wondering why you're seeing permit numbers in the corner of your screen while you see these clips.
Disney's required to do this, and so are we as people who received some of this content from Disney. But we actually got to go back and see them as well. Disney is one of several facilities nationwide participating in the Manatee Rescue and Rehabilitation Partnership, a cooperative effort focused on rescuing, rehabilitating, and releasing manatees back into the wild. To date, they've successfully rehabilitated and released over 30 manatees. And I want to talk about this because we talked about like how we had grown close sort of to Lou and Lil Joe.
Oh, I mean, they were there forever.
Over the years and years. But now what they've figured out is Disney is more of a short-term rehabilitation facility for manatees, right? They have people with very critical skills to help these manatees in their most dire hours of need.
World-class talent and world-class facilities.
They have these facilities, but it's important that for them to have the capacity to do this critical work, the manatees then go to longer-term facilities elsewhere in the state and are often ultimately released back into the wild. So Disney, has 2 new manatees, and we got to see them. Maybe you'll see them swimming here. I don't know how we're going to overlay the video here, but it's really cool to see these 2 manatees. And
baby.
One of them is much smaller, younger, a calf, I guess they call them. And that was really cool to see that. They eat a lot of lettuce. But if you are by the way, in Central Florida, and you want to see manatees in the wild, you do have opportunities to do that. I know Crystal River and Homosassa Springs are 2 of the places where you'll see them. I have kayaked down the Weeki Wachee River, which is probably the coolest thing you can do in Central Florida, like for wildlife. Like just ran a kayak and cruised down to Weeki Wachee and had manatees just surround the kayak in crystal clear water. It's only like 8 feet deep, and you can just see them right there. It's pretty amazing. But obviously probably the biggest danger to manatees is humans and boat propellers. So go in there with that mind, right? Hey, a kayak is probably a better way than a speedboat to do this. But
you talked about the lettuce. We got to meet the nutritionist and see the facility where all the food is prepped every day. That was pretty neat.
Oh, they talked about all the food that gets brought in.
The calendar
for
behind him.
all of the fish.
The calendar behind him had the lettuce delivery schedule, and it's nuts.
It's insane.
There's
Pallets
so
of lettuce.
much.
And not just lettuce for manatees, but obviously all the diverse diets for all the creatures at the sea.
Yeah, they showed us they showed us a nice mix of the stuff they make for them.
It's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
The amount of work that goes into these. I mean, it was like a restaurant. There were people in there preparing very custom plates of food for a lot of these fish. So there are multiple kinds of creatures they have there. A lot of them, I believe they said it was like target based. In other words, they can train certain fish to say, okay, we hold this target, you come here and we give you this food. We know exactly what you've eaten. Other fish, they kind of just throw, a bunch of food in there and they eat it. But some of the larger or more specialized, I guess, fish, they have this target-based thing. So one thing that we got to see that we were not allowed to film was a medical procedure on a bow mouth guitar
They gave us
fish.
some footage, though. Did they not?
No.
I
I don't think that's in the footage. I don't think they want people seeing this.
Okay.
But this is really cool. So the guitar fish kind of looks like a mix between a stingray and a shark. It's a pretty big fish. So they set his target, which is like a mini head on a thing, and he comes and he swims up to an area that they have that's it's in the main tank, but there's sort of a shelf that all the people are on, and it's
Think
a lot.
about if you've been. I hope if you're watching this, you've been in the Seas Pavilion. Think about when you are in the main area. You go up the stairs of the escalator, and you go down that long tunnel, the glass tunnel, and into that circular viewing room. So think about the shape of that room. Basically, there is a platform directly above you. So that funnel, that tube that's in the middle of that room is an access staircase, I'm sure, that goes up top. And then directly on top of the viewing area, directly above where you are standing, there is a platform that they use for this. And they did let us take photos from across the way, not during the procedure or anything. So you can see the setup at least. But that is on top of the guest viewing area that's in the center of the tank.
But here's what's cool. Let's say they're in. Let's just say it's 2 feet of water, and it probably tapers off a little bit. But they get the guitar fish to swim in there. The animals that are of the higher intelligence of the sea creatures are trained to what they call participate in their own care. I saw this with Boxo, the baby tiger over Animal Kingdom. Same thing, where they are able to train them to do certain things that help the veterinarians there provide healthcare services to them, whether that's just drawing blood or, in this case, a more comprehensive exam. So they have an inflatable swimming pool with like collapsible walls, right? So they sit on those walls so that it lowers down. They get the guitar fish to go in there, and then when they stand up, obviously the walls of this pool reform. They put a tarp over it just to keep things calm while it's in there, and they basically pour liquid in there that is an anesthesia of some kind. The fish calms down, goes to sleep. They transfer it to an adjacent pool, flip it over on its back. They put it's not a respirator, but they put a device on it to keep it, giving it air and maintaining
to monitor how it's doing.
And there were at this point literally 12 to 15 people working on this. A
lot of people
in this operation.
That was impressive.
And to watch all these people in wetsuits that are in the water working on this thing, and they're doing a comprehensive health exam. They're drawing blood. They're checking for any abnormalities. And we met with Dr. Jeff. And I don't know if we want to show the Dr. Jeff interview at this point, but before we went in there, we met with Dr. Jeff, who kind of told us about the healthcare mission here.
Dr. Jeff, can you tell me all about your role here at Disney?
So I'm the Animal Operations Director here at the Seas, so I lead the team that provides all the care to the animals here in the pavilion.
So this has got to be a pretty interesting workplace here.
Oh, yeah.
What can you tell me about it?
Well, I think that the interesting things is the diversity of species that we have here. We have over 90 species here at the Seas with Nemo and Friends, and they're all fascinating from all sorts of different anatomy, physiology, taxonomy, and then individual personalities of animals.
All right, give me some interesting facts then. What's most fascinating about these creatures?
I think one of the most fascinating things is the fact that you can train them to participate in their own care. And I think when we think of animals, often we think, you think of elephants or dolphins or gorillas being super smart and therefore being able to train. All our animals here, as long as you have the right motivators, understand what that means, and we can train him. So you'll see today Apollo, our bowmouth. He's going to get a routine wellness exam. He's trained to a target. So that enables us to move him between different sides of our main tank here. But when we need to do an exam on him, he will voluntarily swim into a semi-inflated blow-up pool. We then inflate the pool, we add the anesthesia into the water of that, he then slowly goes to sleep, and then we can do his exam while he's blissfully unaware. And then when we wake him up, we just add fresh water to that, and the anesthesia's gone, he slowly wakes up, and then we can release him back into the main tank. And one of the important things of that, if you think about it, if we went in there and grabbed him, he'd be all ramped up, his adrenaline would be flowing, and the anesthesia wouldn't be smooth. He'd probably never come back to us ever again for that. With the fact that he does it voluntarily means that he's comfortable in that situation. And if we needed to do it tomorrow, he would turn up and he would follow his target and we could do it again.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
But I'm very jealous of your job. You get to work with the manatees.
Yes.
Favorite.
Yeah, our manatees. So we're in the short-term rehabilitation here. So when a young manatee comes in, maybe it's orphaned or it's not doing out in the wild, or maybe it got hit by a boat propeller, there's critical care facilities across Florida. They will initially take that animal in, stabilize it, and then it comes here to Disney where we do the grow out phase. So we take those young, small manatees, we feed them lettuce, and they pound on, or they put on the pounds, and then we're able to get them to a certain weight, and then we release them back to the wild.
That's great.
Yeah.
Well, Dr. Jeff, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
All right, so they do this full exam, and when we were there, we got to watch a lot of it.
Yeah.
And the fish was...
Marine biologists, mostly female.
Yes.
Men, what are we doing? Why do we not care about sea creatures? Why?
In the water, let's say that there were 15 people in the water performing this work. 14 of them were female and one male in there.
Yeah.
Dr. Jeff, he was not participating in this evolution, but he was pointing out one of the marine biologists is like one of the premier people with sharks and rays in the world. Mm-hmm. They collaborate with marine biologists all over and aquariums all over, and there's a very collaborative spirit in this science, right? Because these people ultimately they're not there because they love Disney; they're there because they love animals and the sea creatures. So I thought that was probably one of the most incredible things I've ever seen. Just I didn't expect to see that happen, and the way that the care that they give these creatures is just...
As a fanboy, you go in there. I mean, I love animals, so that's part of it. But you go in there, and it's just cool to see the inner workings of the building. As the fanboy, you're like, oh, wow, this is the main tank, or on top of the main tank. This is so cool. And then immediately they top it. No matter how cool it is to finally be in this space, which you've wondered what it looked like your whole life. You go in there, and they're doing the most incredible... procedures. The amount of people, the amount of knowledge. It's overwhelming. It's really something.
I want to compare this to other things they do at Disney, which is like you have an attraction you want to fix or something like that. Like they're doing way more than they need to do to like keep guests entertained and interested in this thing. They go way above and beyond. There's no way there's a financial return on this work that they're doing. And Tom made a comment like, I know why Bob Chapek wanted to make these cuts, because there are a lot of people involved in to care for one guitar fish.
You guys may remember, I mean, in I want to say late 2010s, one of the rumors circulating was the land and the seas pavilions would go away because they didn't like the costs associated with them, which we walked to that building. I did say it. I was like, oh, I see it now. I get it. But at the same time, how could you... I've got to believe there are executives in the Disney company that take so much pride in what that money is going to. Like you have some of the best, like you said, some of the best people in the world in this field working there and doing incredible things. That is what you should be doing as a mega corporation. This is the right thing to do, to give back to the world, to have an amazing attraction where you teach people and inspire them to get involved in this field, but then at the same time you are doing things that they can't even fathom. In that field.
It blew my mind.
It's fantastic. This and Animal Kingdom, such a wonderful piece of the Disney puzzle.
And then we had an interview about the Disney Conservation Fund.
Hi, Claire.
Hi.
Can you tell me about your role with Disney?
Yeah, so I got the great fortune to lead the Disney Conservation Fund. It's celebrating 30 years this year, and we are happy to, have reached a milestone of more than $132 million in giving to programs around the world, including programs to protect oceans and marine life.
That's great. So we all buy the buttons.
Oh, you donate for the buttons.
We donate for the
Yes,
buttons.
exactly.
Donate for the buttons. So tell me more about where that's going currently when we donate for those buttons.
Yeah, so we're so thrilled that people support the work that we're doing when they come and feel that inspiration through their experiences, like here at the Seas. We have a dedicated team of scientists, educators, veterinarians, conservationists that really work to figure out where do we invest those funds that can have the greatest impact. And so the funds that our guests give, the company matches, and then we really look at programs that are connecting wildlife, restoring habitats, protecting everything from coastal areas to oceans to land. And then I think the most critical part of conservation is how do you engage people? And people are the centerpiece of conservation. So how do you support what local people need to protect the wildlife where they live?
Absolutely. So how important is the role guests play in all of this with those donations?
It's critically important. Our guests are a big part of our conservation story and legacy. They're part of our work to save sea turtles here in the state of Florida, or coral reefs in the southern part of the eastern part of Florida. They're part of our work to protect shark corridors spanning from Mexico to Belize. They're part of our work to kind of think about the future of coral reefs and what do we do to restore our reefs. They're the nurseries of the ocean, so they're critically important. So, every one of the things that we do out there in the world have a piece of what our guests were a part of when they were here at Animal Kingdom or at the Seas with Nemo and Friends.
Well, Claire, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, a few facts about the Disney Conservation Fund. Disney's Animal Sciences Environment team cares for more than 5,000 animals and over 300 species at Walt Disney World, partners with the Disney Conservation Fund on its efforts to save wildlife around the world, inspire action, and protect the planet. $132 million has been invested in wildlife and nature conservation across every continent and every ocean. Of that, more than $24 million has been directed to projects protecting marine species and the ocean. Disney has helped protect over 1,000 species of wildlife. Disney has helped protect 315 million acres globally of land and presumably sea. Over 600 organizations are supported through grants from the Disney Conservation Fund. The Disney Conservation Fund collaborates with local and international programs to support community conservation, education, as well as the restoration of threatened coral reefs. Since 1995, DCF has provided more than $6 million in grants to nonprofit organizations that help protect these incredible ecosystems. If you want to learn more, you can go to impact.disney.com/environmental sustainability/nature. What they do, people don't even think about this stuff, right? This is almost like a secondary thought that people have. You go, and we could talk about you on Kilimanjaro safaris or something like that. They will mention maybe Disney Conservation Fund and things like that, and that's a common sort of thing at Animal Kingdom. But also, we forget at the Seas the amount of diverse sea life that they have there available too, and these are expensive, right? These are expensive things to do, and who better to do this than Disney, who can also use their platform to educate the public on this type of stuff. I forget about these things. Sometimes I walk right past that pavilion on my way to go have a beer at World Showcase or something like that.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you, the work they're doing there is incredible.
I always like to go. That's an every visit to EPCOT. Not Festival Day, because Festival Day I just want to go home and die. But every other time I go to EPCOT, we have to at least go see the manatees. But I love to go in there. I just love it so much. Coral Reef, man, sometimes Coral Reef was garbage. That food was awful at times. Not right now. I think it's pretty good right now. I know people will fight me on it. Last review we do is pretty positive. But I don't even care what the food is because it's just so cool to sit there and just watch that tank.
Yeah.
It's cool to sit there and have a nice little meal and just watch everything float by. I love that pavilion. It's such a wonderful pavilion. That's why I'm so excited. The event in May we're having, Way Back Wed, which will be on Disney property. No, tickets are not on sale yet, but one of the big things we're doing is reuniting the entire team behind creating the Living Seas Pavilion. So Tim Delaney, Kim Murphy, Mike West, Brock Thoman, among the names that will join us to talk about it, because it's a magnificent building. They really did something quite special there. But getting back to Conservation Fund, she also told us, not on camera, sadly, all about everything they did at Lighthouse Point,
Right.
which was fascinating. I was fascinated by it. And I'm amazed because Disney PR, kudos to our friends at Disney PR, I think they do a pretty good job Like when they hear these stories, they're like, well, that's great content. We should put that out into the world. She told us so many cool stories of things they did leading up to the opening of Lighthouse Point for the environment and for the animals. And I was fascinated. I couldn't believe that Disney hasn't talked more about all of that.
We make fun of that pier.
Yeah. The Bob Chapek Memorial Pier.
We called the Bob Chapek Memorial Pier. Honestly, they probably endured expense they didn't have to do that, where they could have torn up coral reef to get closer to the shore. So, the work that they've done at Lookout Key, Lighthouse Point, incredible.
Yeah.
And it's just really
I hope we get
interesting.
to talk about that more at some point. I really want to share that with the world. I would love to. We should contact them and see if maybe we can, when we're out there in September or something, we can make something happen.
I'll be there next week. I'll check it out.
Oh, that's right. You're going sooner. You could check
When
it
this
out.
episode
You
airs.
lay the groundwork. Go talk to somebody and see if we can share that. I would love to share those. I think they're such cool stories.
I think this is something people forget about, and I don't want to get too weird about it, but Walt Disney, passionate about many things, but one of the things he's passionate about is animals.
Yeah.
And so Disney has done a great job of sort of marrying their mission to entertain the public with educating them and protect animals and species. And I think it's really great. I think what they do, nobody else is, millions of people work in this industry and helping animals through it. But Disney is uniquely positioned to sort of take this to the public and educate them in a way that maybe a zoo can't, because people don't go to the zoo unless they, people are already interested when they go to a zoo. Right, Disney is like, we brought you here. You're going to Disney World, and by the way, we have this opportunity to teach you something that you can help us change the world. So to me, that's pretty cool.
That's why the integrity of the seas and Animal Kingdom are so worth protecting. Because when Disney got into those lines of business, they didn't. I respect so much that they didn't get in halfway. They went all the way. They're like, let's talk to the leading world experts on these subjects and do this as right as possible. And in both cases, they did, and that still shows today, all these years later. And Animal Kingdom's no spring chicken anymore either. That was.
But when you think about the concept of Animal Kingdom, we talked to Paul.
Yeah.
And you'll see this on another episode. Paul said he remembers talking to Joe Rohde when Joe Rohde's like, "Hey, I got approval to do an animal thing."
Yeah.
That was before Hollywood Studios opened.
87. Yeah.
So think about all the time that it took to put this together, to not go in half-assed and make like a little zoo trek, right? They went in and they had a mission, an ecological mission, an educational mission. And by the way, you got to entertain people and keep them, happy. So
if you're going to do it right.
So,
and I think in both of all these conservation efforts they have.
I don't think it's an undertaking that modern Disney would be able to tolerate with their shareholders. Their shareholders would have trouble tolerating it.
It's not a line of business they would get into now. I think if you pitched if they had not done Animal Kingdom when they did, do I think that would have been, let's say they were looking at a fourth park in the 2010s, would that have happened? Absolutely not. There's no way. Right. There's no way. Because look at it. The other Disney parks around the world, they haven't really done anything like Living Seas or Animal Kingdom.
You won't see them put a fish tank in a lobby now. They're like, nope. Fair. So
yeah,
different time, and it's worth preserving, and it's worth, I think, us having this episode to just talk about this, because I think these are things that Disney will lose if people don't show that they care about it.
Yeah.
But
people, I think that the outpouring, this is the right time to talk about this, because last year the outpouring for not only the manatees but the dolphins.
Yeah.
And it is sad that the dolphins aren't there anymore, but hopefully they'll do something new in that space that means a lot to people. But I think that I love how much guests showed that they love the seas last year in both of those stories. Those are two of the biggest stories of 2025 for us, which means people really adore the place, which is perfect. Love it.
And we do think that now the time is right to share that video of Tim Delaney talking about the Seas Pavilion over on the Parkhive channel.
Yeah.
So
I'll give you a good taste of what's coming up in May, but it's purely from Tim's perspective.
Yeah. Well, that's all the time we have for this episode of the WDW News Today podcast. We want to thank you for watching, and invite you to watch this Tim Delaney video that we have on the Parkhive channel,
please.
and let us know what you think. Share your thoughts, and share share your experiences with the Seas Pavilion. I think it's something that people forget about sometimes, and
I'm sure everyone has good stories.
I'm really glad to be able to highlight them this week. So, thanks a lot, and we'll see you on the next episode.
We didn't plug Carousel of Products. Can we do that now?
Yeah, edit that part out where I say goodbye, then, Billy, because Tom's.
No, I think there should be the reoccurring thing where you try to end the
I
show,
always try
and
to
I'm
end
like,
it, you try to
we
plug
have
something.
bills to pay, please. Carousel of Products. Please shop with us at carouselofproducts.com. We have launched our pin of the month program to match our magnet of the month program. So there's now both. Whichever way you want to own our really cool art every month, it's your choice. But go subscribe at carouselofproducts.com.
No.
That's all I've got.
You ready? Tell me to go, and I'll do it.
I think it's good. Plug the rock and roller coaster. Yeah. See, Katie has a good point. We should plug-
Events.wdwnt.com. We're going to have the rock and roller coaster event. We're calling it the Sweet Emotional Farewell Tour. And we are going to have several Imagineers that made that happen and some key people as well coming in. They were still working on a guest list.
Yes.
And we'll send the super stretch limo out to MCO to bring them straight to you. Find out more about that at events.wdwnt.com.
We're having that at the Embassy Suites. And there is a special package that includes an exclusive evening with Imagineer Jerry Rees for our WIGS members available there as well. And real quick, I just want to mention, we still have limited staterooms left for History on the High Seas, a WDWNT cruise, our first ever cruise event with the people who brought Disney Cruise Line to life, including Jane Alcorn, who's going to give us a walking tour of the work she did to bring Castaway Cay to life. Very exciting.
But Tom, I thought that cruise was sold out.
It was, and then we added more staterooms due to popular demand. And I will warn you that we're almost out of those. And so when those are gone, one of several things can happen. One is the event is sold out and we're done. Two is maybe we get more staterooms, but they're a different type of stateroom, maybe without a veranda, or they're higher in price than they were previously. So keep all that in mind.
An area like in Titanic where they're all dancing down in steerage class or whatever they call it, fourth class. I don't know.
But events.wdwnt.com is also where you want to go to get tickets to that.
And now I bid you adieu. We'll see you next time on the WDW News Today podcast.
We'll see you real soon.